Good morning, Minnesota. Welcome to the September special edition of Coffee Talk on SSIS Learning and Development 2025. Let's get started by going over today's agenda, which we'll start out with, next slide please, housekeeping in the Tennyson warning. Then we'll talk about the mentor of the month, see if there's any section announcements, SSIS Learning and Development Mission video, or I'm sorry, Envision. Introduce the SSIS Learning and Development team. Talk about leaning into innovation. Go into SSIS Child Protection Learning Resources, SSIS Adult Protection Learning Resources, Fiscal Learning Resources, the SSIS Essentials, the whole new look, and we'll talk a little bit about the SSIS Mentor e-learning series. Before we do any of that, we need to get into our housekeeping a little bit. As always, attendees have been muted upon entry. So to speak, please raise your hand using the reaction emoji at the bottom of your screen, and you will be unmuted by one of our panelists. Questions can also be submitted using the chat feature, which will be monitored by our SSIS Business Ops staff. Closed captioning can be enabled using the CC button located on the bottom left of your screen. This session is being recorded and will be posted on the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy website in the near future. A follow-up document will be prepared and distributed to attendees 7 to 10 days following the WebEx. The Tennyson warning is available for you to look over here. Basically, it's going to say if you stay on here and you speak, you're going to be recorded. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to read over that real quick, and then we'll get going again. Okay, hopefully that was enough time for you to read over your Tennyson warning, and we will move next to Heidi, who will introduce our mentor of the month. Take it away, Heidi.
Thank you, Ross. Good morning, everybody. This is Heidi. Before I read what was submitted here, I'd like to share that this nomination was probably one of the most thoughtful, kindest nominations I have ever read. So anyway, I'm so honored to read this. But this month's Mentor of the Month is Freeborn County's Evie Cunningham. And this is what was shared. It says, Evie is the definition of a mentor. She's patient, kind, amazing, super helpful, upbeat, efficient, non-judgmental, approachable, friendly, and the list goes on. She's always quick to respond and will work until an issue is resolved. If she doesn't know the answer, she will find it and offer workarounds when possible in the meantime. She offers guidance with kindness, humor, and a genuine desire to see others succeed. Evie consistently goes above and beyond. She never makes us feel dumb when we ask things that we should know, and she is a true lifeline when we're feeling stuck or overwhelmed. We wouldn't know what to do without her. We, SSIS users at Freeborn County, love and appreciate Evie for just being her wonderful self. So anyway, congratulations, Evie, and thank you for all you do. We appreciate you very much. And if you have someone you would like to nominate as Mentor of the Month, send me an email. I'll put my address in the chat. So anyway, I hope all of you have a good day, and thanks again for joining us this morning. Ross, back to you.
Thanks, and congratulations, Evie. Well deserved, it sounds like. So next up, we'll bring Eric in to introduce our team.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome, and thank you for joining us. I'd like to start by sharing who we are here at the SSIS Learning and Development Team and what drives our work. So the Learning and Development Team consists of 3 trainers currently and 2 e-learning instructional designers. And then I have the privilege of supervising this great bunch of people with amazing minds. First off, we have Anna Chaluka. She handles a lot of our SSIS curriculum in terms of adult protection. And she is a standby child protection trainer as well. We have Carrie Kaiser, who has stepped in as in a hybrid role. She does a lot of our physical training. She oversees physical help desk tickets and provides immediate technical assistance to agencies and training that are struggling with various aspects of SSIS fiscal. And she's also launched child welfare targeted case management series as her initial launch into her training portfolio. And we hope to see more from her because we're getting great feedback on that. We have Renetta Walk, who handles a lot of our special assignments, as well as she's sort of our resident child protection trainer. And she'll talk a little bit later about some of the initiatives that she's been a part of this year in terms of child protection training in SSIS. And then we have Jason Dalrymple, who is our author and designer of the SSIS Essentials and the e-learnings that are part of our adult protection e-learning suite. And again, he'll go into more detail a little bit later about some of the offerings that he's a part of. And then we have, last but not least, we have Mr. Radio Ross, who stands in and sort of helps us, MC a lot of these coffee talks. But he's also doing a lot of behind the scenes work in terms of e-learning and instructional design. And we'll talk a little bit about some of those e-learnings that he's put together over the years. But right now, he's primarily working on the SSIS Mentor Coordinator e-learning series. So again, happy to work with this team. I'd like to start by sharing who we are and what drives our work. Our mission at SSIS Learning and Development is to create engaging, equitable, and effective learning experiences that help our partners use a complex system like SSIS with some confidence and skill. Our vision is to build a collaborative, inclusive learning environment. And we do this through strategic, scalable, and modern learning solutions that evolve with our partners' needs. And we're trying to lean into more of a lens of evaluation. We're trying to get at the heart of what our SSIS learners need. So at the end of this presentation, we will be doing an initial evaluation to sort of pick your brains on where we are at right now. So please stand by and hang out for that. We try to lean into the principles of adult learning. And when it comes to adult learning, we know that one size does not fit all. Adults learn best when the material is relevant to what they do, it is flexible to their learning needs, and connected to the real world work. That's why we focus on self-directed and goal-oriented learning supported by mentorship, feedback, and a safe, inclusive environment. We've also shifted away from long, one-size-fits-all demonstrations toward resources that are relevant and easily accessible, whether that's through our coffee talks, engagement site, or targeted training sessions and emerging training clinics that we have begun to infuse into some of our training. So just wanted to take a second here to talk a little bit about the SSIS business section. As a whole, the SSIS business section here at the Department of Children, Youth, and Families offers user support in a variety of ways. I have the luxury of supervising the SSIS Tier 1 help desk as well. So a lot of the ways that we provide training and resolution for issues is through that help desk. We also do an escalated form of triage known as technical assistance, and that's usually offered by our Tier 1 help desk, and elevated forms of triage and technical assistance are also offered by our SSIS subject matter experts. And then we have the learning and development training resources that we're going to dive into today. And we feel like it's important to clarify how learning and development differs from technical support, which is our purview here on the learning and development team. So technical support focuses on sort of a reactive problem solving, trying to fix issues as they arise, while training is a proactive service designed to impart knowledge and skills so users can perform their jobs as effectively as possible. So in other words, think of technical support as calling a plumber to fix a leak, and training as taking a home maintenance class so you can do your own repairs in the future. Learning and development training and resources, again, take that proactive approach to learning, such as new employee or refresher training or specialized training resources. Learning and development is used to increase knowledge, skills, and competencies on how to use features and perform functions, and assess training needs, identify gaps. It's resolution focused and identified or, to deliver consistent and repeatable training resources, again, for that new worker and the mentor coordinator population who are taking refreshers. So you can go ahead and go to the next slide. As we did last year in our learning and development update, we introduced Denise. She's standing here and she's showing you all of the available emojis that are available to you. Last year, we had a lot of things in the works, like coming soon, we are going to have this, coming soon, we are going to have that. And I'm proud to say that a lot of the initiatives that we were working on last year that were coming soon are now available. So every time you hear now available, just to see if anybody's listening, go ahead and hit that laugh emoji. So let's start a practice session here. Now available. Awesome. I see folks are listening. That's great. Even some of the panelists, even better. All right. So last year, we talked a little bit about an engagement and information site that was coming soon, but now it's available. So now available, we use a platform called Engagement HQ that both packages SSIS learning resources in a different way, as well as provides opportunities to engage with our SSIS coordinator and mentor population by using news feeds, survey tools, idea boards, forums, some announcements, and we also show a lot of training resources on this site as well. Since its inception, we've had close to 5,000 hits on the site. We'd like to see that number grow, obviously, over time. I know that a lot of people use Google at their agencies to locate SSIS-related resources, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what we're trying to achieve with Engagement HQ and the SSIS Engagement and Information site really is trying to create a one-stop shop for mentors and coordinators and SSIS users of the like to locate resources that will allow them to perform the data entry and documentation portion of their job in the complex system known as SSIS. So again, just sharing this. The site is updated regularly. There's all kinds of features on the page. Like I said, there's a list of high trending topics like AFCARs, Family First, where you can find coffee talks, where you can find learning and development resources, job aids tutorials, and also some training dates and how to sign up for those training dates. So we encourage mentors and coordinators especially to go to that site and get information. All right. So now available, we have the SSIS Sandbox. So right now, we launched thanks to Renetta and Cassie Navarrete. They worked together to bring the SSIS training database or the SSIS sandbox to agencies that don't have a test environment. There are 5 agencies that have a training environment right now that is available to them, but the rest of the state did not have a training environment. So we created this site for users to, as like a test environment. Agencies can enter fake data and test new functionality. Agencies can train and onboard new staff. And agencies can provide demonstrations of SSIS functionality for internal and external partners. So there is a way to sign up for using this training environment, and you can find information and an FAQ on the engagement and information site that I spoke of on the previous page. If you want more information on how we control and provide access to the training sandbox. So really proud to see that come to fruition. Right now we have 32 designated mentors from different agencies, and we've had 50 plus requests since May to access the training environment. And then finally, my final slide here before I hand it over to the rest of the team is to talk a little bit about our partnership with the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy. As of right now, we infuse some training in their foundations courses, but it definitely doesn't go into great detail about the requirements of the SSIS system. So we're happy to partner with them. However, Renetta is going to talk to you in a little bit about how we branched out and are offering more child protection basics on the SSIS side of things. But I do want to talk about the luxury of being able to create an SSIS webinar archive for our coffee talks. And that webinar archive is located on the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy's website. And the slide is showing, the top screenshot is showing the more option under their menu. So if you click more, you will be able to see SSIS training over to the left-hand side in the gray area of that menu bar. And that is where a lot of our SSIS, or that is where all of our SSIS coffee talks are archived. Anything from Title IV-E to MAPC to permanency related, legal and financial responsibility. There's a whole archive there ready and available for new users and mentors and coordinators to access to get information that they need in order to perform straightforward and tricky data entry in the system. And then to make things a little easier for people, instead of having to watch the whole video, Anna Chaluka has created these Coffee Talk agenda and timestamp documents, and that is the screenshot on the bottom right of this slide. Just an example of the different topics that are covered in each one of our Coffee Talks. And when you click on those links, it's going to bring you directly to the part of that video that talks about that particular topic. So say, you saw a Coffee Talk a while ago, you knew something was talked about, you can't put your finger on where it was. These timestamp agenda documents will help mentors, coordinators, and users of the system locate things a little bit more quickly. And I hear that our SSIS help desk, Tier 1 help desk uses these as well. So super helpful. And now I'm going to hand it over to the rest of the team to talk a little bit about and showcase some of the SSIS training resources that we have available now. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. Hi, everyone. This is Renetta Walk, and I am going to talk about the SSIS child protection resources that we have available for you. And I will begin by talking about the SSIS Child Protection Basics training. So earlier this month, we launched 5 child protection basic courses, as well as 3 corresponding instructor facilitated but self-guided practice clinics. So that initial launch went well. We got great feedback. These courses and the clinics are available as an introduction to the child welfare and child protection, navigation and data entry in intake assessment and case management work groups. So during these courses, the entire suite you can take. We'll talk a little bit about what we offer here in a minute. But the suite covers a wide range of required data entry and gives a lot of tips throughout each training on entering this information into any child protection work group. These courses are instructor-led demonstration with blended instruction, and you'll have some small and large group work activity. The courses are interactive, so you have some time to experience a wide range of learning opportunities. So it's not just heavy on the lecture. So the next slide, thank you. You can find information about these training courses on our engagement information and our engagement information site that Eric talked about a few slides ago. Just go down to the SSIS classroom lecture style training section, and there's an option for SSIS protection basics. If you click on that, you can find out more information about each of the courses. So our next slide, I realize the image is a little small, and that's okay. The point that I want to make here is that we have options for you. So we realize, as Eric's mentioned already, that training is not a one-size-fits-all for everybody. So we kind of created this a la carte design for you. So you can take as many of these courses or as few of these courses as you'd like. The instruction, again, is around basic navigation and data entry. These courses do not include any specialized areas like placement or ICWA or facility investigation, and amongst a whole other slew of options. But we're looking forward to providing some of those specialized trainings for you sometime in the future. And we will have some time later in this session where we're going to be gathering some feedback that will help us in determining, which courses to offer next. So we've got some pretty exciting things happening. So as part of determining, which option is best for you, do you want to take everything that's listed here, or do you want to cherry pick what best meets your needs? We just kind of say, think about a few factors, and I'm just going to talk about three. So one is the time commitment. So these courses are designed based on a 3-hour or 4-hour course training. So the clinics, the self-guided clinics, are 2 hours. So that's your time commitment for these courses. So if you have 4 hours and you're taking one course that day, go ahead and take it. You may decide you also want to take some of the other courses or the corresponding clinic. At least this gives you an idea of the time that you'll need to commit to these. We also want you to think about your learning needs and style. How do you learn best? So we've designed these courses based around a case study. So they each have their own specific case study, and they are surrounding the navigation and data entry for an intake work group, assessment work group, and case management work group. And this is the best way we can support all learners across the state. And we realize the work is done a little bit differently within each agency, but this gives you a really good general basic understanding of what your requirements are for entering in each of these types of work groups. And then we talk about another factor, and that is the training availability. So we do have courses scheduled for December of this year, February, April, and June of next year. And you'll have to watch for the postings. We haven't yet released the actual dates. So we will be posting those on our Engagement HQ site, in the SSIS update newsletter, as well as on our SSIS resource page. So kind of watch for the dates so that if you are interested or you have staff or as a mentor, there are new workers that you want to send them our way to go through some of the basic trainings. We'd love to have you all and appreciate you joining us to increase your proficiency and knowledge around SSIS basic data entry. Next slide. Okay, so where can you register for training? Just go to our SSIS engagement and information site. On the left side, there's a navigation panel. You can scroll down and click on any of the courses and you can register that way. The next slide. Once you access the SSIS engagement and information site and click on one of the options that we have highlighted or in this red box here, that will bring you to our SSIS resource page. And this is where you can get additional resources as it relates to child protection, as well as a bunch of other resources that my colleagues will talk about in a minute. I will just focus briefly, ever so briefly, on the resources available on Partner Link. So we have our SSIS Essentials e-learning, and we'll have someone coming to join us, Jason, to talk a little bit more about that. But that page offers a variety of independent and on-demand interactive training modules. Our SSIS pilot and release training page contains CP resources that are arranged by pilot and release date, the release version, release notes, the what's new, what was new in each release, any known defects, and any related training materials. So that's another really, really good resource for you to take a look at. And then we have our worker documentation page, and this page contains our written job aids or modules that are based around the functionality, workflows and navigation, data entry instruction. Some include some policy instruction as well. We give you descriptions and examples. So really good hands-on, tangible pieces of material that you can access. We have our SSIS Prevention Services Candidacy Training, and this is an e-learning training on prevention services candidacy screen. So you can go look at that training and learn more about the various screens. Eric's already talked about our Coffee Talk archive, so I will skip that, but you could certainly access that archive from this particular link here on our Partner Link resource page as well. We have our SSIS Child Protection Basics training link. Here you can see a more detailed description of each course that is offered, and you can also register from this link as well. The SSIS Basics for Child Protection Workers overview, Eric's already talked about this link, and this will take you to our partner, Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy. And he's already taken us through the options that are available there. And I do want to point out, we do have some additional on-demand videos that you can take that are very specific to child protection. And not only the coffee talks that are there. So there's some really good resources out there as well. Next on this slide, I have the child protection permanency online training in this red box, and that provides a series of permanency e-learning modules that are available to you on demand. Great resource for learning more about the permanency options. And then we have our SSIS time entry web app information in all of our training materials, and you can access all of those from this page as well. Next slide brings us to questions. Any questions regarding?
I do show a few things in the chat here, so I'm going to go all the way back to where I think Eric was talking about the engagement and information site, and People wanted to know how to get to that site. So Jason put the link in the chat. So anybody that wants to go there and link to it, they can. Also the slide in the PowerPoint deck that has been distributed and will be redistributed has the link on that slide as well that you can go to. So there was a couple of comments in regards to the timestamps that Anna had put together for the coffee talks and how useful they are. And let's see. One question here are, and I can't remember exactly where it came in at, but are these courses different than what new workers complete in new worker training through the academy? And the answer is yes. They pertain more to SSIS functionality. And other than that, the chat is empty of any additional questions. So I think we can move on to the adult protection portion of it. Take it away, Anna.
Okay, thank you, Ross. This is Anna Chalupka, and I'm gonna talk about the SSIS Adult Protection Learning Resources. So there are a couple of ways to access the SSIS Adult Protection Resources. The first way is through the worker documentation, which is highlighted here in purple. And this is where you will find in the SSIS resource page in the partner link website. And then from the worker documentation page under the adult protection section, this is where you will find the SSIS adult protection user guide. So we do have the September 2025 edition is now available. And our user guide is updated quarterly. And also this is where you will find the documentations highlighting the quarterly updates of the user guide. And the most recent version is the link and documentation for Adult Protection SSIS User Guide Changes version 25.3. Also in the partner link SSIS resource page, you will find the link that is titled SSIS Adult Protection Worker Training. That's another way to access our adult protection resources. So from this link, you will find the training dates for our adult protection training. The training course follows a life of an VA case, starting with the intake, and it goes through the assessment and then also closing the case. The training is technical training that designed to provide an overview of the data entry into SSIS. And each training I do partner with the adult protection policy staff. The training is available. It is offered 2 half days. It is a virtual class, and it's really designed for new adult protection workers, but it's also SSIS mentors are welcome. SSIS supervisors, managers are also welcome, and really anyone who's seeking refresher. So to register for these trainings, please sign into the train link, and the dates for the upcoming adult protection SSIS dates are listed on the left-hand side. Also in this adult protection training website, you will find a section called training resources. And on the right-hand side of this section, you will also find the link for the adult protection SSIS user guide. Also the link for the adult protection e-learning suite, and the link for the adult protection policy manual. So the policy manual kind of really is the policy guidance regarding adult protection, and the SSIS user guide is the technical guidance. So when you're using the manual or the guide, it's basically a combination of the technical and then also the policy. I'm going to turn it over to Jason, and he will talk about a little bit more about this SSIS Adult Protection e-learning suite. Before I turn it over, do you have any questions for me? All right. Thank you. Jason?
Thanks, Anna. Just a real brief look at the Adult Protection e-learning suite. What we have now available are 2 e-learning courses, the 104A and 104B, to explore intakes and assessments. Those are being regularly updated as new tools are available, but will continue to be updated as new information becomes available, things change, that kind of thing. There's a section, probably the most helpful, is on the adult protection, structured decision making, and standardized tools, which has videos for each of the individual standardized tools, plus one that's now available on the intake assessment override approval process, which is a newer process that goes with the SDM intake assessment. That was just released just a few weeks back. We're also in the process of working on the new SDM strengths and needs assessment video, which should be up fairly soon, close to the time that the new training dates start. So keep an eye out for that as well. And then as new resources, new videos or learning becomes available that doesn't fit into the general essentials e-learning courses or into the structured decision making and standardized tools videos, we'll have those under the additional e-learning resources that you see there, which right now just has that intake and assessment time and activity reporting video. With that, if no one has any questions, I can go ahead and pass it on to Carrie to talk a little bit about the fiscal training resources.
Hey everyone. Now available is the Fiscal SSIS CW TCM Healthcare Claiming Training. The training is offered quarterly, and so far we've had 3 sessions held in 2025. This training is ideal for new fiscal staff or anyone seeking a refresher on CWTCM healthcare claiming training. The session covers the full process of creating and submitting a CWTCM claim batches, as well as reviewing and resolving time-proofing errors. The next available training session is scheduled for December 9th from 10 to 12. You can register by clicking on the link or visiting the SSIS Engagement and Information site. Training dates for 2026 will be announced in the new year and published in the SSIS updates, as well as on the SSIS Engagement and Information site. There are several fiscal online trainings available on the SSIS Engagement and Information site under Fiscal Online Training. These trainings are a series of on-demand fiscal e-learning modules that you can access at your convenience. Topics include an overview, service arrangements, payments, healthcare claiming, reports, and more. Another valuable resource is the fiscal documentation page located on the SSIS Engagement Information site under Fiscal Documentation. On this page, you'll find a variety of useful resources covering topics such as admin, BizOrg, chart of accounts, exclusions, general fiscal, healthcare claiming, payments, service arrangements, and state reports. I just wanted to point out a few popular job aids. On the SSIS resource page, you'll find a 2025 SSIS monthly state reporting schedule, which includes important dates for SSIS reporting. Also, you will find a SSIS interface schedule, which outlines when each interface runs hourly. On the Fiscal documentation page, several helpful job aids are available, including the Prevention Services State Report job aid, Child Foster Care Proofing Messages job aid,
and special cost codes in SSIS job aid. The SSIS time entry web app is currently in a pilot phase. Several resources are available to help once the project launches for your agency, either during pilot or the statewide release. On both the SSIS resource page and the worker documentation page, you'll find a section dedicated to SSIS time entry web app. The section includes job aids that cover access, log in, and log out, creating a home screen or desktop shortcut, and creating and submitting a new time record. And with that, I will pass it over to Jason.
Hello again, folks. This just into with that documentation, we just added a new video introducing the time entry web app. So for those that are in the pilot or just coming onto the pilot, you'll be able to take a look at the functionality. So kind of give you a advanced look at what the time entry web app is going to be look like for you. And then you can kind of also get excited for what's going to be available when that comes to a computer, desktop, or mobile device near you. That's found on the time entry transformation engagement HQ site. So when you go to visit the site, it'll be in the top right-hand corner under training videos. One thing we're going to be doing with that too is as new features are available, we'll be adding new videos so that as we're doing releases with the time entry web app, we'll be putting new videos out there that have more information about those and demonstrating those new features. So keep an eye out there, but that video is now available. So check it out. That way, if you're in the pilot, you'll know what you're going to be working with. If you're not in the pilot and excited about it, you'll be able to see what's to come. With that, if anybody have any questions? All right, well, I'll just toss it back to myself again. This is Jason still, talking a little bit about the SSIS Essentials. For those who are newer, maybe to the Coffee Talk, welcome to the state, welcome to your county. You may have taken the new look SSIS Essentials, so you're probably wondering what's new about them. You've never seen them before, so you didn't see the old Essentials, so you're wondering, well, what was new? Well, for those who have been here and remember what the old Essentials looks like, the new ones have that are now available have 6 courses and 4 videos, whereas before it was 6 really, really dense courses. So they are now broken down into smaller bite-sized portions. And then within each course, they have even smaller bite-sized portions. So you've got a real bevy of choices to make as you're going through. None of the courses have prerequisites, so you don't have to take them in any order. You don't have to take one course before taking another. They're not required. Nothing in the courses themselves are necessarily required unless you want to get a completion status. They use a broader lens. Previously, they were very, very focused in on child protection services, but now they take a broader lens so that more of an audience can benefit from some of the functionality and understanding some of the basics and literally the essentials of SSIS. The navigation has changed to give you a more choices in terms of your navigation, but also at the same time a simpler way of navigating, one that you get to choose whether you want to go in a linear fashion or just jump straight to the section of the course that you need right away. The activities are a little bit different. We're looking at fewer quizzes and things that are a little bit more active and engaging. We're going to go ahead into the next slide. So if we look at the old curriculum, it was just those 6 courses, especially, and they were pretty dense, especially if you look at the old 103 and 106, where we kind of packed in a whole bunch of features, whereas now we've broken those 2 out especially. 103, which was intake and workgroup search, became 2 courses, 103 and 105. We took the 104 creating an intake and just turned it into introducing intakes to make it a little bit more inviting for those that don't necessarily do just child welfare intakes or child protection intakes. And then we took data cleanup alerts and reminders and broke that into 3 of the 4 new videos and added in the time reporting video. So if you look at Essentials 107 through 110, those are the videos, 5 to 7 minutes long, and you can take a gander at those anytime that you'd like. So that's the set of courses that we have. Just so you know, Essentials 101 through 106 are available on both TrainLink and through the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy. 107 through 110 are only available through TrainLink. Right now, 107 on the Child Welfare Training Academy is the old version of 106. So if you do want to watch the videos, you will need to go to TrainLink to watch those videos. Next slide. So if we're talking about the navigation, that was a big thing that came up during the original, in the original Essentials courses, was some struggles with navigation, sometimes trying to navigate through the course or get from one section of the course to the other. So we added a new navigation page that's now available that allows you to jump to any section of the course that you want, then back to this particular landing page to go back to another section. The next and previous buttons are still there. So if you want to take a linear path through the course, you can do that. But you have the option anywhere you want to go, anytime you want to go there. The other piece is the new activities. We've got in that first screen, I'm going to go counterclockwise, starting with the screen on the right. A walkthrough of how to create a new activity in the chronology folder is one example. So instead of taking a quiz about the chronology folder, you're actually going to use the chronology folder, and we'll walk you through a process. The next one to that, to the left, is part of person search, where instead of learning about person search and having to recite details about person search, you're going to do a few person searches. And lastly, one of the newest features that's now available is the first ever escape room included in one of our courses. So it gives you the opportunity to use your skills to find your way and navigate the intake search and find your way out of the course. So that's kind of some of the new things that we're working on that are now available in the existing courses. And keep an eye out, you may see more of some of these things soon in other courses. Any questions on the new look Essentials that's now available? With that, I'll hand it over to Ross.
Thanks, Jason. Those look awesome. I want to talk a little bit about the new Mentor Coordinator e-learning series that I've been working on. If you have gone to PartnerLink or to the engagement and information site on Engagement HQ, you'll see that some of these modules have already been created and are now available. Alex is still listening. Deb's there. Stacy, Cassie. All right, we got some people still here. So the modules that have been created so far and are available for you to look at are the introduction and the general navigation, the SSIS admin part 1, which includes departments, locations, units, roles, functions, setting up users, and Active Directory. And coming real soon, I would say watch within the next few days, maybe, you'll see the SSIS admin part 2, which has the tools and reporting in it. So it covers everything from county preferences to the special studies and admin reports. So look for that coming soon. And then I'll be starting on the next couple of modules with data integrity and the state and general reporting overview. So this series is getting close to being complete and to the end, but there's still a few modules left to look for. And so keep an eye out for those. And that's it for me on this one. So I think I'm giving it back to Renetta and or Anna.
Thank you, Ross. All right, so we are in our segment where we have our engagement and feedback portion of our presentation. So now that you have learned about various training resources that we currently offer, we would like to go through a brief engagement and feedback or evaluations section. So our goal, so why do we want your feedback? Well, our goal is to really to learn what's working or not working, okay? And also to identify your training needs. It's like which part of your day-to-day work could be easier or more efficient with additional technical training, system training. Oops. And how do we intend to use this information that we're going to be gathering today? We really would like to make data-informed decisions about the frequency and the type of SSIS training resources that we offer. Also, we would like to incorporate your feedback to prioritize our work to align with the needs of our agency partners. So we intend to use the feedback to identify key takeaways and really to inform short and long-term planning over the next 3 to 12 months. We really need your feedback to continue to support our learning retention. All right, so slide here. So this is just a slide regarding the reminder that Erica talked about earlier in this presentation regarding the description of their learning and development training and resources. So keep in mind these 4 bullet points as we go through our survey. Think about really this proactive approach to learning. Think about like how are the resources and the questions that we're about to ask you, how would that help increase knowledge, skills, and competencies to perform features and functions in this in our technical training, our child protection or adult protection SSIS training. Also, we're assessing training needs, identifying gaps, and then we also are looking for resolution focus and to identify and deliver training resources. So with this portion of our presentation, I am partnering with Renetta Walk. Renetta will have the survey, and Renetta, are you ready to go?
I am. Thank you,
All
Anna.
right. Yes.
So,
So do you guys have any questions before we get into the actual survey? And this is meant to be interactive and engaging, right? So if you have any questions, we are going, if you can't unmute, we will unmute you. We will, feel free to use the chat. We have several people monitoring the chat regarding this this portion of our engagement because we really value your opinion, and this is really meant to be as an engagement piece section of our presentation. Okay, thanks. All right, Renetta.
No questions yet, so still waiting for some to come in.
Thank you.
okay. Well, what we'll do is go ahead and get started. As Anna mentioned, this survey that we're going to do, it is now available. Anybody out there? I can't see the chat. I can't see what's going on, but hopefully you are out there. We get those little emojis popping if they're not already going. But we want your feedback, and we are going to go through each question. We only have 7 questions, so it's not very long. We'll go through each question one at a time, and then we're going to ask you to share any feedback that you'd like to share with the larger group. Like we can have conversations around it. And as Anna mentioned, we really want to know what you think and what you want. What's going to help make your job easier? Like what do you need from us, and how do you need that information to be presented or delivered? And we can kind of figure out how to best make that work. So with that, I have on the screen a Slido QR code. For those of you who are not familiar with Slido, it is just another survey option. And we'll talk about how it works a little bit more when I open the survey. But the QR code on the right side of your screen, if you use your mobile device, you can take a picture and that'll bring up the Slido survey. And there is a passcode that you will need to put in. The passcode is LAGYSA. LAGYSA. And if you are joining from your browser, go ahead and type in slido.com. There is an access number and, of course, the passcode. So I will go ahead and open the poll and give you just a few seconds before we actually, I'm going to read through each question just so I make sure we all have the same understanding of what it is we're asking. So the before I start, I should check in with Ross or Anna, Eric, anything in the chat before I read this first question and make sure everyone knows what we're trying to capture here.
Nothing in the chat related. We have
Okay.
a question about something unrelated that Eric's taking care of.
Okay, perfect. So the first question, it says rank SSIS training resources that you or your agency provides or recommends to others. And we want you to rank these in order from 1 to 9. 1 is the product that you use most often. 9 is the product that you use least often. And there is a not applicable option, number 10. So if you don't use any of our SSIS training resources, we'd like to know that as well. So just select number 10 and do not make any other selections if you do not use any of our SSIS resources. So we will give you more time. We have about 170 people in the session. So I should also say with this ranking, for those of you, you need to select them in order, and then they'll move from the bottom of your screen to the top of your screen. And if you need to change the order, you can do that once you have made your initial selections in order. Okay, we're
Just want to add too that I'm not sure it was mentioned, you can use your phone. It will work with your phone. Just scan the QR code.
Yes, and if you're having trouble, please let us know in the chat if you are unable to get it in or you're having difficulty accessing this. We are making some progress, but we're less than half of us in the room. So
And Nicole said she had to switch to the phone. She just got in. So there are some,
okay.
it looks like it's better to when uses the phone. So maybe we'll give it a couple, a little bit more, give it some time for people who had to switch to the phone. Thanks for that feedback, Nicole.
And I'm just scrolling down the list, but you'll see the full list once you open the app.
Okay, Lori, put on the chat that she doesn't think she'll be able to do this. Maybe some an access on the computer. It's probably maybe.
Okay, and what we'll do, we'll talk about that once we wrap up. We'll give this there are still some folks in the room making some selections, so we'll talk about that a little bit right before we end this engagement section.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Sue, for our computer browser work. The Slido. Thank you so much for participating and giving us your feedback. I think we can wrap up on this one. It's slowing down.
Okay, there are a couple folks still in, and we'll just let this last one go. Okay, and then we're just going to move to the next question. And again, Anna, just remind me if at the end of this, we can certainly address for something for those folks that have been trying and they're running into a few roadblocks.
Yeah, Stacy says that she doesn't have a work cell phone and it's asking her to create an account online.
Okay.
Okay, interesting. But thank you for
Yeah.
that, for letting us know. Okay.
So question number 2, pick your top 3 SSIS training resources that you'd like us to do more of. And we want you to rank them in order from 1 to 3. 1 is your first choice and 3 is your third choice. So what would you like to see more of? We see they're starting to come in. So we're just going to let you go ahead and answer this.
And feel free to unmute or put it on the chat if you want us to give additional comments about our questions and why you selected what you selected. We would love to know.
Yes, or if you have specific examples, maybe there, as I'm looking at, generally what we have on the results right now, if there's something in particular, wow, that particular e-learning resource, was amazing and it was very helpful and it was very useful and I refer to it frequently. Whatever that is, go ahead and post those comments in the chat because that too will give us an idea of the style and what seems to be working or not working out there. But right now we're on the question of what you'd like us to do more of, your top 3.
Cheryl has made the suggestion that for those that can't log in, you don't need an account. You can choose to be a guest and it'll work.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl.
And the way
we did make the survey anonymous when we so can you talk more about that, Renata?
Absolutely. So the survey is anonymous, so we don't, like, you may see your name when you're doing the poll, but we cannot see it. We just see it as participant. So we do like your feedback, want your feedback, encourage you to be honest, be open with us as we go through this, because that's going to help us create what you need in the future and help define what our work is, what's most needed out there. And so right now we're just kind of chatting about what do you like us to do more of based on the different training resources that we currently offer. What would you like to see more of? And if there's something we don't have on this list that you would like to see more of, post it in the chat. Let us know.
So Katie, I had asked on the chat, Renata, that is there something we can share with team members and have them complete the survey at a later time? Because they might not be available at this coffee talk and they might wanna complete
And
the survey.
we'll talk about that at the end. So just a great
Mhm.
reminder, as soon as we wrap up, we'll make sure we're addressing that. So that others on your teams, we really do appreciate you thinking about the other people as well, so that they can provide some feedback to this too. And although we're doing this in a more informal way, it's a way for us to just take a gauge of what's out there right now, what you're thinking, how you're thinking, what you want, what you need, so that we can align our work.
I think it will be okay to move on to the next question, Renata.
Yes.
There was a comment made by Terry that says back to in-person mentor meetings so we are able to mingle with our counties.
Okay, well, thanks for that feedback. We appreciate that.
And remember, you can always raise your hand and we will unmute you so you can make your comment or ask your question live if you like. But chat is okay too.
Okay, so our next question says, list the SSIS functions or topic areas for which we provide training resources that meet your needs. And we have some examples here. Placement related, you can be very specific or generally say placement. ICWA, Indian Child Welfare Act, any training resources that we provide around that. Service plan, fiscal related reports, admin, CP specific, Menited, anything on the participants folder, chronology, adoptions, and the list goes on and on. So just list as many topic areas that we currently provide resources that you feel are meeting the needs across your agency.
Jen put on the chat that she's a fan of more fiscal trainings. And it looks like in our word cloud here, fiscal training is our top one.
Yeah, we're seeing.
So that's yep, and yep, and we appreciate if what certain topics in the fiscal using payments is good. Okay, all right. Okay,
This is great. Yeah, we're
right?
seeing.
ICWA,
And you can
admin.
even dive in a little more detail because we just gave you some general examples. So if there's something specific in child protection you want to see, feel free to say that. Maybe you want to see more training on the child maltreatment report and not a whole cluster of other screens. Or maybe you want something very specific to the what are you required to enter, opposed to the other entries that we say are strongly recommended to support your work. So go ahead and put things in here that give us more specificity, like more details, child protection related, like if you have anything you want to say.
So we really can hone into the what resources and training that we will be that we can provide.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I see something in, oh yeah, okay, I see things are moving, so that's good.
Could I ask a question, Renetta?
Absolutely.
So we're on the what's working portion of the survey, right? So I think maybe there's some confusion in terms of like this question is asking what resources are meeting your needs, not what resources are not, available or meeting your needs. So I wonder if there's confusion on our participants' part in the way that they're answering this question.
Oh, great. Clarity. So let's see if on the survey, if you were answering what's not meeting your needs, then you can deselect or remove that option on your survey. But Eric is correct. We're looking at what training resources are currently meeting your need or your needs.
We will have a question about what topics that you need.
That you need more,
that you will need more,
support in.
more.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But this is specifically on what's currently meeting your needs, what's working for you out there in terms of topic areas that we currently provide training on. I see on here lands. I'm not familiar with that. So if you could say a little bit more, feel free to unmute or put it in the chat. LANS, lands. I'm not quite sure what that is referring to. And the same with case. Do you want more? What's working? Not do you want more of, but case trainings that we're providing around the case or the work group level. Is that what you're referencing? So this again is what's working, what's currently meeting your needs. Okay, so we are going to move on to the next question, number 4. It says to rank the SSIS training resources that we are currently providing that we can improve on to meet your needs. So you're going to rank these from 1 to 9, and this is where we need to improve. 1 being the product that you use most often that you think we need to improve on, or not that you use most often, that needs the most improvement, and 9 being the product that needs the least improvement. So I'll repeat that while you're working on this. So 1 is the product that needs the most improvement, and 9 is the product that needs the least improvement. And again, we have that not applicable option for anyone that is currently not using any of our resources. And I'm just scrolling down. And for any of you that are currently not using our resources, if you will post in the chat or come off mute and just explain what are you using to learn about SSIS, to learn the navigation, to support, if you're a mentor, to support your staff back at your agency. What resources are you going to instead of coming to the SSIS engagement and information site or SSIS partner link resource page? Or are you leaning into other colleagues, like shadowing other folks at your agency? Or do you get all your training from the lead worker at your agency or your supervisor? Or do you have a training department at your agency and that department provides all training that you don't really go and visit our site? Those are just a few examples. Anything in the chat?
Yes, it says not all staff are interested in person. In today's climate, in person is not necessary.
Okay.
For many, it provides avoidable burdens to manage traffic, parking, time, and not everyone wants to share space due to germs, viruses. Yep, we get it, Kate. Thank you for that feedback. And that's why we want to just see what the, one of the purpose of this is engagement survey is kind of like, well, yeah, we want to know what's more like priority, what we want to just gathering some feedback, and thank you for that feedback.
And we'll just give this a few more seconds. There's one person kind of wrapping up. And again, this is just ranking this on 1 is the product that needs the most improvement, and the 9 is the product that needs the least amount of improvement.
Another comment just came in. I use a lot of e-learning modules, partner link, and job aids mostly.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. All right, so I think I can move on to the next question. Question number 5, select your top 3 SSIS training resources that you find the least effective, and we want you to rank them from 1 to 3. And this isn't the least, the one you use the least often, but what's the least effective? Like, how do you learn best? If you're not so much, I think the last comment that Ross just read would be a good lead in to this. That person acknowledge what they use, but we can turn that around and say, what's the least effective? I learned best this way. So all these other things that you're giving me, not so much.
Thank you, Cassie, for your note. Yeah, because yes, we do play that kind of a guessing game, and we want data-driven information just to make sure that we're doing what we are, what's most helpful and effective.
Anna, can you read through that
Awesome.
comment, that note from Cassie?
Sure, from
For
Cassie?
those that, yeah, for those that may
From
not,
Cassie from Everett? Okay,
yes,
yeah.
be able to see it in the chat.
Sure. This feedback is so valuable, although we often like to believe that we know what each agency is needing or maybe wanting, we still are playing a guessing game. Our guesses are made by tickets coming in and requests we have, but your direct feedback ensures we are staying on the right track for providing resources and training.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that.
Teresa suggested that it would be nice to have at least one in-person meeting a year.
Okay. See, we're getting some fresh ideas, so we definitely appreciate that. And again, we're ranking your top 3 resources that you find the least effective. What's not doing it for you?
I think we'll give it another like 30 seconds. We can move on to the next.
Sounds good. We just have a couple more to get through. And again, if you're not using any of our resources, just select number 10, not applicable.
Couple more comments that have come in. It would be nice to have at least one in-person meeting a year. The interaction between counties is invaluable. And the next one is, there is value in meeting in person and networking. And as was stated earlier, questions are asked that are not covered in online trainings.
Okay, well, thanks for that feedback. And we'll move on to. Oh, did
We are
someone?
at 10:23.
Yep, let's
Okay,
move on
all right,
to
so
the
we'll
next
move
one.
on to the next question. So question number 6, which SSIS functions or topics do you need more resources or support to meet your needs? And I have a bunch of examples here, but go ahead and start typing. I need more of this. I really need more of whatever that is. Oh, I see 4E. Yeah. Haven't seen that show up on our board in a long time, but yes. Seeing admin and CWTCM and lots of reporting tools coming up. So permanency folder stuff, chronology, time reporting, service plans. So the collective, more than just the out-of-home placement plan, you want to learn about the other plans that are available and how to best use those. QRTP, FFS, PSA, yes, absolutely. Lots of fiscal. And we'll give it just a few more seconds as folks are typing, and then we'll wrap up with our very final question. And then
Another comment in the comment section. As a previous income maintenance worker, the Maxis and Mets training ensured workers were getting training throughout thoroughly prior to have access to the system. Due to short staffing, most case managers are being thrown in with minimal supervisor support training. Having required trainings in person or WebEx prior to getting SSIS access would ensure leadership is ensuring staff are getting trained prior to using the system.
thanks for that feedback. Absolutely. Something for us to consider and figure out how, and to partner with you all to make that happen. That's great feedback. So we're going to wrap up. I see a couple more folks are entering this. I just want to make sure we stay on time and get you out of here on time. So our next question is there anything else you want to add that you think would be helpful for us to know? Anything else? And someone's already started posting like that last comment in the chat that Ross just read. But go ahead and post it here as well. And while you're entering this information here, anything else you think would be helpful for us to know? I do want to ask Eric if he would post that link to Engagement HQ in the chat so that folks that you wish to share the link with to help us gather additional feedback, you're able to do so. That's just another way to go through the same set of questions, and others at your agency can share their feedback.
This will stay open for folks to continue to put information in after we have to close the meeting, correct?
Yes. The Slido survey will remain open. So you can continue to add information. Yeah.
So there's, I noticed that one of the comment, make SSIS training part of foundations. Yeah, that's really, thank you for that suggestion. There are just, there's some things that, we could suggest with the training academy. So thank you for that. But sometimes there's some negotiation that needs to be done, and so it's good to have
Yeah,
kind of
because we can't.
feedback. Also feedback on in-person versus, the pros and cons of like, is that a hardship for you guys to have in-person training? Is it more beneficial and it will cover more, a time saver, more efficiency if it's a more of a virtual?
Do we want to talk about what folks can do that weren't able to get into the survey, or want to tell others about this survey to be able to also participate?
Yes, I did, and I'll share that again. I asked Eric if he would post the link to the Engagement HQ site, which I think he did, in the chat, so that if you don't have time, if you want to have others complete the survey, they can complete it there. If you are in the Slido, you can continue to add information in the survey. We're going to leave the survey open through the end of today. You can continue to add information if you're already in the current Slido. The other option for anyone that wasn't present at this meeting and they want to share feedback is to use the Engagement HQ link.
Great, thanks. Anna, can you bring up the PowerPoint so we can get to the closing? We got about a minute to close this out.
Okay, okay, 1 second.
Go to slide 49, please. I'm not going to get into, even though we're going to go to slide 49, which is SSIS resources. We've talked quite a bit about how to get into engagement and information site and the SSIS resource page and what's on there. So that's usually something I cover, but I don't have to cover it so much today. We also have slide 50, which talks about the coffee talks are available on the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy website. So there's a link to that. And also, if you have any questions or needed information related to this coffee talk, you can contact our help desk. We want you to save the date for November's coffee talk. Yep, we're there again. We're at the last SSIS statewide release, version 25.4, coming up November 18th, which again is a Tuesday at 9 a.m. Registration will remain open until the event begins. So register as soon as you can and come join us in November. And we also want to, of course, thank you for spending the time with us this morning and giving us this valuable feedback as well. And hopefully you enjoy the rest of your month. We'll see you in November. Thanks, y'all. Radio Ross out. Oh, stay golden, Minnesota. Radio Ross out.